Games are for everyone, regardless of skill or ability. But what can you do when playing with younger children or those with exceptionalities? Find out next. This is Legendary Tactics. This eager beaver is Jack. Jack is 10 and he loves board games. I mean, he really loves board games. Most mornings, his routine is to go into my game closet, which is filled with more than 100 games, and pull out the game du jour and dive right in. From Imperial Assault to Gloomhaven to Space Alert to Blockus, you really never know what you're going to get with Jack's pick of the day. So I've struggled for years to come up with effective strategies to engage Jack and play games with Jack. I've come up with some useful tips over time that I've employed to ensure that both Jack and I end our gaming sessions with the most enjoyable and pleasurable experience. Number 1, don't sweat the small stuff. So when you're sitting down with your son, daughter, relative, friend, don't worry about specifics of the rules. Don't worry about exact setup. Don't fret about getting everything just right and so. Just get into it and just start playing it. You're going to find that the person you're playing with is not going to be very concerned about if you got everything just set correctly. So relax, have a good time, and just kind of explore the game. And I find this really liberating for myself because I don't need to worry about every rule minutia. Okay, which leads us to my second point, which is probably the most critical in some ways of all of them, which is be flexible with the rules and don't get caught up in getting every rule right. I often have the rulebook handy, sitting nearby in case I personally want to check out a particular rule, because a lot of the times, which is amazing for me, that Jack pulls a game out that he wants to play, it's one that I have been wanting to play. And so I'm trying to relearn some of the rules myself after having not been with the game for a long time. So it's kind of a great opportunity for me as well as Jack to play. But I don't get caught up in every single rule, and I don't worry about getting everything just right, because that's not the point here in this situation. Rule number 3. Depending on the exceptionality, try games that emphasize storytelling, or choose your own adventure, or maybe a strong spatial visual game. So I know for my son, it really helps when I can give him choice options in a game. I know today, one example of that would be that we played Betrayal at House on the Hill. And that game gave him the option to go around and go from room to room and explore rooms and develop and find out new rooms, and he absolutely loved that gameplay. So that worked really well. Another idea would be the visual approach, which one of his favorite games is Blockus. And when we play Blockus, we are not going point to point, but we instead are filling the board as best we can with our pieces, and it's just filling with your color as best as you can. And we're saying Blockus a lot, and he loves it. So again, be flexible with the rules. He loves the spatial abilities, and that's another great game that he enjoys to play. So rule number 4 would be relax and let the one you're playing with take some control or ownership in the game as well. So turn the decision making over to the child or your son or daughter or your friend or whoever you're playing with, and let them steer the storyline of the game if it's sort of a narrative game, or if it's give them choices, options, and let them kind of work through and decide what they want to do with it. So don't take too much control, rather lend control over to them, and that's going to give them a little more feeling of ownership and pride as you work through the game. Number 5, find ways to keep things under an hour, and 30 minutes I find is really the prime number you want to be around. If you can get the game wrapped up in 30 minutes, you're doing good. So I find if it gets much more than an hour, my interest starts to fade because, well, there's a lot of reminding that has to go on, and here, roll this dice, and let's do this again, and sort of that it starts to bog down. So 30 minutes though, attention spans are pretty good generally, I find, for about 30 minutes, and that's where you really want to try and target your game play. And even if it means stopping and then coming back to it, if it is going to go longer, that's another idea too. Number 6, keep complexity to a minimum. Summarize text-heavy cards in simple words for them to understand and figure out. So you don't need to read verbatim the different cards they draw, and rather skim over it yourself, summarize for them, and then just tell them in the simplest form what they're looking at with the card they've got. And I find getting excited about different cards too, especially, so for example, today again we just played Betrayal. When Jack got an item from the item deck there, we kind of pumped up, oh, this is the amulet, and this gives you, one extra ability, but you don't want to lose it, because that would lose you lose 3 per your skill set there, so be careful. So things like that, where you're just kind of getting the point across in the simplest way you can. Number 7. Work in games that involve rolling dice. So one of the greatest things for kids to do, anyone to do really, even adults, is to roll those dice when you take luck in your own hands. And nothing is truer when you're playing with exceptional kids or any kids. And I find my other son, Simon, who also loves to game with us, which is great because now we have a gaming trio. He gets very anxious and nervous about rolling dice, and Jack has no fears at all. He gets in there, and in fact, today Simon passed over the dice to Jack and said, "Here, roll for me. Roll for me, Jack. You're a better roller." So it was awesome. It was great to see. That's number 7. So get dice in there, get rolling in there, and spinning. Any kind of tactile hands-on will be great. Number 8, be mindful of fine motor skills. And they're not going to be as proficient at moving small, tiny pieces around, moving tiny counters, and that can often be problematic. So you want to be mindful of that, and if the person you're playing with has no problems with that, great. Utilize it and go with it, but if they do, adapt and modify as you need to make sure that it's going to be successful. Number 9. Don't say no to a game that they want to play. This is something that I have had to struggle with because sometimes Jack has had tendency to pull out games that are pretty heavy. And you know what? Pretty much any game that they pull out that they want to try at. Usually what I will do, though, is they have to ask 3 times. So I'll give them 3 times, and on the 3rd time, if they still want to play it, then we're pulling it out and it's going on the table, and we will figure out a way to play through the game. At the very least, you know what? We're playing with the pieces, we're checking out the board, we're checking out the card decks, and we're having some fun that way. Lastly, number 10, most important rule, is that you want to have fun with the game, and you want to have fun with the person you're playing with. So, what that means basically is sit back, relax, enjoy. Look at the experience as a time for you to get to know the game a little better yourself. Perhaps learning some new cards you didn't know about. Maybe in your own mind putting some synergies together with the cards that are there, or the gameplay that's in front of you, and having a little fun with that. One of the best things Jack has taught me about gaming is that games are living things that don't need to sit on my shelf as a collector item. They are made to be played, to be handled, to be opened. I am so thankful that Jack does this morning routine, picking out a game. Otherwise, many of those exact games that he's pulled out would right now have a lot more dust sitting on them. Is there a risk that these games might get damaged, pieces lost, rules wrinkled or ruined? Sure there is. But it won't matter in the least, and it definitely won't replace the really special and fleeting moments that you will get to spend with your child as they grow and develop. Oh, and by the way, look out, because you'll also be fostering the next generation of a world-class gamer. This has been Legendary Tactics. Got Dad and Jack here. Say hi, Jack.
Hi.
Now, Jack, do you like to play board games?
Yeah.
What is your favorite board games you like?
Gloomhaven.
Yeah. What else? What else do you like besides Gloomhaven?
Space Alert.
Blah.
Bloggers.
And what about Raw?
Mokusa.
Robinson Crusoe, right? And Jack, what about Ambush, that's right.
Star Wars Imperial Assault.
Yeah, that's right. Star Wars Imperial Assault. That was a good one too, wasn't it? Time
Stories.
Time Stories. You liked that one too, didn't you?
Love games, remember?
So you had a lot of games you like to play. So, Jack, what's the number one rule when you play games? What do you have to always do?
Read the rules.
Read the rules and have
Popcorn.
popcorn.
Like strudel.
And strudel. So make sure that you have popcorn and strudel when you play.
You know pasta, pop, and limeade.
Pasta, pop, and limeade, and you will be good to go. So Jack clearly has two hollow legs and likes to eat his food.
And Star Wars. Bye.
Bye.
I love you.